Ladies and gentlemen.
Everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. On today, we're going to be actually revisiting a video that I did on Deion Sanders and Karrueche Tran, to which I posed the question, was Karrueche Tran just a Pilar Sanders replacement? Now, if you recall, or if you don't know, Deion Sanders has been married twice, and his last wife, Pilar Sanders, is mother to his last three children, which is Shador Sanders, Shiloh Sanders, and Shalomai Sanders. All athletes, all doing, I think, pretty well in their respective sports. Well, I think Shiloh is, anyway, been cut by the Buccaneers. Anyway, we're not talking about them. We're talking about Deion Sanders and Karrueche Tran. Now, Karrueche Tran is of mixed heritage. She is Asian and African American. It's kind of visually what you can see, as well as Pilar Sanders is of the same Asian and African American descent. And I actually think that Pilar Sanders had declared. Anyway, I'm rambling. Now, these particular two people found each other, not sure how, probably through passing or what have you. But was she a replacement? The question that I posed had more or less to do with Deion's physical type of woman that he likes. He's an older man. Well, because he's an older man. He's older than me, but he's still of decent age, right? He likes a certain kind of woman. He likes someone who is petite. He's not into the BBL. He's not into the lace fronts. He likes I would say, a modest and kind of modern type of woman. Now, Karrueche Tran, we were introduced to her through Chris Brown, most of us. They had a long-standing relationship. The relationship didn't work out. Chris Brown was back and forth with Rihanna. Anyway, she at some point realized she needed to move on with her life, and she did just that. And Karrueche Tran has done films, she's done some modeling ads, and she has built her own career off of that exposure that she experienced with Chris Brown. After the divorce Deion Sanders had with Pilar Sanders, he moved on pretty quickly to Tracy Edmonds. Now, Tracy Edmonds is a star in her own right. After her marriage from Baby's Face, she moved on and started to executive produce films. And I mean, she really built a career of her own. And her and Deion Sanders were together for, I think, 9 years, maybe more. At the latter part of that, when he first started, happened to have to be hospitalized for issues with blood clots. At some point, he did propose to Tracy Edmonds. Now, for one reason or another, or maybe even multiple reasons, they never made it down the aisle. Deion Sanders had a TV show, I think it was on Amazon Prime, where he was chronicling his journey at Jackson State University, and then at some point, I think he was there for 2 years, and then he was beckoned out to Colorado, where he currently is head football coach, and they just kind of, things went their separate ways. Now, there have been rumors that, like, once he started getting the exposure again, he started getting that itch, as many of a alpha male type, egotistical, slightly narcissistic, athlete male would do. And so that's just rumors, but, nonetheless, they split apart. Deion meets and obviously at some point falls in love with Karrueche Tran, and they have been together that we know of ever since. And it's been, I want to say a couple of years. Publicly maybe a year or so, but they've been together, and they have what I would call a publicly private relationship, right? Meaning that we, the public, the general public, knows about them, and they are not in any way secretive about them being in a committed relationship. However, the intimate details of their relationship, we don't know, right? They're not, if you go to his page, he's not plastered all over it. If you go to her page, he's not plastered all over it. They are together. They are heavily, from what I could tell, through Deion Sanders' son's post and things like that, they are heavily involved in each other's life, but they also have their own life, which is extremely healthy. If you read my book, purchase it and buy it off Amazon, Why Good Girls Don't Marry, it's very important for women to maintain a bit of their own life and self-identity. That's just true femininity and loving yourself. To also, to have a sense of purpose for yourself and not just be wrapped up in your spouse. And that goes both ways. So is she a Pilar Sanders replacement? By that, I mean, he never married Tracy Edmonds. Was he deep down still some part of him not completely over Pilar? And I don't post pictures of Pilar doing these type of videos because, as I understand, they have kind of a contentious relationship, and so I don't want to put that negativity in my own channel. But I always kind of felt like he wasn't completely over her, this being Pilar Sanders, because whenever she's near him publicly, at least there's zero interaction, zero hello, how are you? He's just done. And usually people still feel that sort of animosity when there's a bit of love. And maybe he will always love her in a sense that, she's mother to 3 of his 5 children, so what have you. Now, what I mean by Karrueche Tran and Deion Sanders being heavily involved in each other's life is that she is really being, from what we can tell, a healthy partner for him. She has her own life. She has a sense of independence and purpose, things that she's building for herself. Yet she knows how and when to show up for Deion. Now, a man of Deion's stature, and I'm talking about finances, I'm talking about notoriety, exposure, and that really stems from his own ego, pride, personality, whatever you want to call it. He is big and he's very grand, and you probably hear his voice before he walks into in a room, right? You probably sense the aura when he walks by. If he glances, he's that guy, right? And you kind of get that from a lot of athletes and almost any celebrity, right? You got to have a little bit of an ego to make it in that particular industry because it's all about you. You are your brand. So if you're weak and docile and a run over, you probably won't make it as far, right? Or at least have good experiences. Anyway, that type of man needs someone who knows how to possess herself in such a manner that she's not self-seeking to get into his light, right? That he will place her where she wants her to be. And what I've kind of gathered from his relationship with Tracy Edmonds is that she's the alpha female. She's not gonna, you're gonna hear her and you're gonna know that she's in the room by way of self-announcement and a little bit of control, if you will. And Karrueche just doesn't have that, or she doesn't demonstrate that, right? She's very soft. Here's the word from last year. She's very demure. And she doesn't feel the need. She's just being a good girlfriend. She's just being a good woman. She's not trying to make herself or them into some sort of power couple. She has her own light. She's not trying to gather his light. Yet she knows, and from what they've discussed, from small little interviews that they've done, is that they know how to prioritize each other and their relationship. So even when she has, things going on, she knows how to put things on hold where they can be put on hold to show up for him, and he does the same thing for her. And that's about equality in a relationship, and that's about balance, and that's about truly building love. So a Pilar Sanders replacement, maybe in some way physically, right? That if you put them next to each other, Pilar would look like her mother. Very dark hair, kind of that olive tan or tawny skin, almond shaped, eyes, and I think Pilar has had work, but they could pass for mother-daughter. They could pass for sisters. They could definitely pass for being relatives, right? So I think he does have an archetype in terms of women that he will marry. Now, his first wife is very different if you look at them physically. Just facially, they are very different. The first wife, I think her name is Carolyn, looks very distinctively different from Pilar, and Pilar to Tracy Edmonds. You could just say that, well, they're all slim. He likes slim women. Like I said, he's not into the thick, the typical Southern man you would say likes a thick, curvaceous, busty, hips and butt everywhere, thighs everywhere kind of woman. He's not into that. He definitely likes them slim and petite. Across the board, they've all had that in common. But I think she softens him. Now, there was a comment that she's a hospice care wife. Now, for many of you that may not be familiar with the term hospice care wife, I mean, once a man gets older and he gets sick, he kind of looks around like, oh my goodness, no one's here to take care of me. Something happens to me. I need somebody here. And they're ready to get married. They go all these years with not being married or not wanting to truly commit to somebody. And then they just look up like, oh my God, I got to get a wife. And so they find some woman to marry so that they have somebody in-house to take care of them 24/7, cook, clean. Yes, you get the intimate benefits as well, but the desire to be married is not out of love. The desire to be married is out of, I need help. I need somebody to help take care of me in case something happens to me. Right? Nobody wants to die alone, right? It's age of a million years old saying, right? Now, do I think that kind of plays into it? I think that's possible. Because no one fully knows what he's thinking, what she's thinking. For all we know, she could be the worst, has the worst things planned in her mind, right? Who knows, right? You never fully know what a person is thinking and what's in their heart. So I do think that that's possible. But I also think it's very likely that he has been experiencing some tragic events in his life. He's gone through some healthcare battles, and through the grace of God, he has overcome them. And he's a relationship kind of guy. Like, you don't hear about him bouncing from woman to woman to woman. So he is a relationship kind of guy. He likes commitment. He likes one partner. As he said, he doesn't like to sprinkle himself around. He's not that kind of guy. He likes one. And he just realized, like I said, he's a relationship kind of guy. He does want to be with somebody. And something, like I said in my last video, a younger woman will bring out of an older man. And so someone that's gone through the experiences that he's gone through recently, I mean, his sickness kind of came on and it pillaged. It was very, very fast. It was a lot of hospital stays within the span of about, I'd say 8 or 9 years. I mean, it was just consistently, it was rough. And so here you have kind of, in new love, puts a smile on everyone's face, right? It puts a skip in your step. So here's this new young woman. And I say young, but she's almost 40, and I think it's appropriate. She's not some, 19-year-old fresh out of high school kind of girl. She's seasoned. But here she comes, and she brings about this light, this happiness, and it's new and it's fresh. That's always exciting. Then comes off, she's very poised, nurturing. He says she's sweet as sugar. And it's just something that he needs, right? Especially needed at that time. You go through something so tragic and so heavy, and then here comes along this bright spot. And I think that has a lot to do with it. So I know there's rumors about them already being married. I did in my last video that I believe that he would marry her. And I think that they could be married. I have no idea, actually, obviously. But if they're not married, I think that he will marry her. I almost know that he will marry her because she's what he's been looking for quite some time. Just a partner. Again, he has all the money he probably could ever need, right? So he doesn't need that. He's been with the stay-at-home mom, right? Probably doesn't want that again. He's had the wife that wanted the limelight, that wanted the superstardom. Doesn't need that anymore. And he's had the wife he's had the girlfriend, I should say, long-term. He's had the fiance, the woman, the long-term relationship where the woman had the stardom. So he doesn't need that. At this moment in his life where he's at, he just wants peace and togetherness. And I'm sure he loves the fact that Karrueche has her own things going on, her own projects. She's not sitting at home waiting for him to call. But when he does call, wherever she is, she picks up. And if she needs to be there, she will. And I think that's just what he needs. A little bit of space. Because I still sense a little bit of, and I think she's kind of, their love is kind of healing that. There was a little bit of brokenness you could tell with him. And you go through a divorce, especially a contentious one with children, it's gonna break a part of you didn't even know existed, right? But I think through their love and through God's grace, that's healing in him. And I'm actually happy for him. I don't know him personally, but I've admired him from afar through the years, just being a very positive man, athlete, entrepreneur. He's very positive, Christian man. And only thing I know about Karrueche is from her relationships and small little roles she's done. But she seems like a sweet, young woman. And I say young, like I'm just a few years older than her. But she seems very sweet. And I honestly wish them the best. I hope they do get married. I hope she has children if they want children. And I hope they ride off into the sunset together. I just do. I wrote a book called Why Good Girls Don't Get Married, or Why Good Girls Don't Marry, excuse me. Hello. It's on Amazon. Go ahead and purchase that book. It's a quick read. It's 63 pages, and I think you'll love it. Thanks for watching.